Please.
Yes, ma'am, please go ahead. It's online.
Hello and welcome. This is Charu Yadav, ACO DCM Group of Schools. I welcome you all to today's session. Thank you for taking your time to join us as we talk about healthy habits for exam success. It's a special day for us as we are privileged to witness the presence of our guest speaker, Ms. Sania Mahajan, who is a positive psychology coach certified by International Coaching Federation. We're also joined by VP Academics, Deputy Principals, Head Boys, Head Girls, and some other members of the Student Council. I extend a hearty welcome to each one of you. As we're all aware, this session is conducted under DCM Cares Initiative, which aims at ensuring the mental well-being, emotional and physical well-being of all our students by conducting regular sessions on relevant topics. As we all know that half-yearly exams are going on, so what could be a better topic other than dealing with exam stress? No matter how organized our students are, there are always those butterflies which keep bothering us whenever exams approach closer. So in order to fix all those butterflies and to help you ease out, we have this masterclass for you all conducted by Ms. Mahajan, wherein she'll be sharing some amazing, healthy habits to deal with exam stress and help you ease out during that period and to come out super successful. So I'm sure you'll be better equipped to turn your anxiety into action by implementing all those amazing tips. So without further ado, I would like to introduce you all to our guest speaker, Ms. Sania Mahajan. She's the founder of Startup MGAze, a platform for self-development and mental well-being. She's a psychology honors graduate, having majored in industrial and corporate psychology. She has worked with different NGOs, hospitals, and schools in the same field in India and Canada. She is now a positive psychology coach certified by International Coaching Federation USA and working to incorporate positive changes in the daily lives of people through positive and counseling psychology. In short, she helps people flourish and live their best lives. I welcome you, Sania, to this wonderful session. I request you now to address the gathering. Thank you.
Right. Thank you so much, ma'am, for the lovely introduction. It is truly my honor to be taking this class with everybody who's just watching the stream right now and absolutely here right in the meeting. Before I start, I would just request if there's anybody else who could switch on their camera. I do know we have 2 students online as well. Perfect. Yes, sounds good. Okay. So throughout the meeting, just a little heads up. You like whoever's on the camera, I wouldn't put you on the spot, so don't worry. It's just you're online so that we can have like an interactive way. And since you are sort of like the representatives of the student community at large, it will just help the students sort of relate more if you are online with me while I take you through this workshop, okay? So just take yourselves as good student representatives and it's all that. Don't be afraid of anything. It's a very interactive mode right here. So before I begin, just to take you through, this class would be a sort of mixture of me obviously doing the most of the talking, but also incorporating some exercises meanwhile in between so that, all of us already start feeling that success and reduce that anxiety and that stress that might come, just hearing the word examinations, okay? So as we get through to the workshop, let's get started. The first thing, whoever's watching this and of course whoever can see me, I would just simply request you to do a little small activity with me. It's just going to help you calm down and get right into the narrative and what I have planned in store for you. So just to begin, if your camera, you'll have to have at least one hand free for that. You don't need 2 hands free, just one is okay. And I want you to simply tap. So just take 2 fingers and tap the parts that I basically say. Yeah, so just 2 fingers and you start tapping on the modes that are written, the nodules that are written on the screen. So you start tapping on your head first. You just keep tapping away. Don't think about anything, just tap. So you tap on the top of your head. You go to your eyebrows. You start tapping between your eyebrows right here where I am tapping. You go to the side of your eyes right here. Either side of your eyes works. Just tap with me. You just have to keep tapping. And then we shift to under the nose and between the lips. So you tap right here. Then we go down to the chin. So you have to tap where your chin is. And then you go down to your collarbone. So right here, below your neck, where your collarbone is, you tap right here. And then there is also a part, the hand. So the other hand, if you cannot use your other hand, you just tap like this. Yeah, so you tap right here. Right, so we just repeat what we did. We tap here, top of your head. You tap between your eyebrows. You tap on the side of your eye, under your nose, on the chin area, the collarbone, and on like the lower part of your hand. Yes, that's about it. And we stop. Okay, so I will sort of explain what we just did towards the end of the session. But yes, this activity was for all of us to just sort of come together. Now that I have your attention, we'll get started to this workshop directly. So if either of the two students that I have online, if you could just tell me just one word or two thoughts or two emotions, feelings that you have before you enter into an exam hall or you start writing a test or an exam. Any emotion?
Nervousness.
Nervousness, great. Anything else? You can repeat, Sumansh, if I've got your name right. Any other, on behalf of the students and the friends at large that you have, what other feelings do they tell you they get, or what are the emotions that you feel?
Full of anxiety.
Full of anxiety, okay. And anything else? Nervousness. Are you scared? Do you feel there are emotions of what might be your grades like, what the question paper might look like? So there's fear as well, right?
Yes.
Right. So, like you said, anxiety, fear, just in general, negative emotions that we would say. There are a lot of negative emotions. There's a lot of anxiety, a lot of stress that basically, arises when we even think of the word exam, or even when the teacher says that, okay, this is when you're going to have your next test. So the test itself, the word, as soon as the teacher announces, and Charu ma'am would agree with me, as soon as the teacher announces that, okay, we're going to have a test on so-and-so date, all these emotions, all these feelings, all these thoughts, they just start rushing. Even if nothing has happened, even if the test might be an open book test, but just the fact that it's a test or an exam, we start to feel certain kind of emotions that necessarily may or may not be bad for us. But yes, they do go towards the negative side because of how they make you act, of how it makes you feel in general. Okay. So just to think of why this happens, like, why do you get this negativity? Why do these emotions arise? Because it is very important for us to firstly be aware. No action, no plan or success, like our workshop is called Exam Success. No success could ever take place if you are not aware. So just to mention a few possible reasons why, negativity arises, or these emotions or these feelings come into place. Firstly, poor past performance. So a lot of times, the reason why you're stressed, or the reason why, you are feeling all these emotions, is because something has happened in the past that has not given you the results that you might have desired. Probably you scored like a B, or like out of a 50, you might have got like a 25 or a 30, which wasn't really like a desired result for you. So the next time a test comes up, immediately your mind goes to the prior time where, you might not have prepared that well, or might not have got those expected marks. So that is one. The second, fear of failure. So failure is something that fear of failure is something that just comes very automatically. Even before, you write the test or something has to be done, that fear just sort of comes into our minds, into our personality as a whole, that what if I fail? Now there is a test I'm being graded for. So what if I fail is a very common line that comes into place. Thirdly, it is lack of self-confidence. Now, fear of failure, or, what if I fail, are some lines which actually come into your minds and hearts and thought processing, because somewhere down the line, you think you might not have prepared well, or you might not be able to prepare well, and you are not confident in general. So these negative emotions or this stress and this anxiety that we say is commonly associated with our own lack of confidence. So this is the third and a very important aspect. And then yes, lastly, poor preparation. It could be because of a lot of times there are situations that are such wherein, we feel that we could not prepare as well as we thought we could have. A lot of times it is our own unwillingness to prepare. So it can always be a mixture of time, place, and situations. But yes, together as a whole, it is poor preparation. So accumulation of all of these factors or any factor, even one factor out of this is primarily a reason why this negativity is arising out of you when an exam or an test is even announced. So throughout this workshop, my entire aim would be to kind of address these points, these negativities that come, and then also give you solutions. Our main aim here is going to be solutions, because I know jab bhi exam aata hai, our parents, our teachers, everybody's like, stress mat lo, it'll be okay. It's just a test, kuch nahi hai. And these are common things that are said. So I want to kind of be away from all of that. वो सब आप बहुत सुन चुके हो. I don't want to, keep repeating all of that, but I want to try and give you helpful points, helpful things, and habits that you can accumulate and have a successful examination season. Okay, so we'll get started right away. This is sort of a roadmap to success. Throughout this presentation, this is what we will sort of be discussing. We'll be talking about scheduling and goal setting, which is one of the most important things to even start with. When we talk about exams, we sort of divide it into three aspects. Okay, the first is the preparation part, what all you have to do before the exam. Then there are a set of things you can do during the exam itself or right before you enter the examination hall. And then followed by what you can do after an examination, so that these negative emotions are handled better for next time. So this roadmap would sort of be our guiding factor towards the workshop today. And I'll be explaining more of all this as we go through with the workshop right now. So first and the foremost important thing, study environment. So if you have a look at the previous roadmap as well, I've talked about scheduling and goal setting and study environment. But why I say study environment as the first thing, because I know a lot of people would know ki haan prepare karna hai, but a lot of people don't understand the importance of an environment that can actually help you attain examination success. So when I talk about study environment, I'm saying having a clean, a quiet, a neat, and a specific place where you will be preparing. So all these points are going to be the pre-phase, things that you have to do when you're preparing. So the first and the most important thing is you should mimic the exam arrangement. Usually during an exam, you are either given individual desk and chairs, or you might be sitting with someone but at a distance. So you are the sole person who is actually on that chair with that desk and would have an exam paper and your stationery and all. So similarly, when you study at home, you should make sure you are in a similar situation. This is actually research proved, and in the APA Psychology Journal as well, wherein they say when you mimic an exam arrangement, you become way more comfortable. The anxiety, the fear of you suddenly walking into an exam hall or a classroom and having to see things that you are not familiar with will itself give you a lot of stress, a lot of anxiety. So if you start practicing these little things at home, like have a desk separately, have a chair separate. It's not like a dining table or something. It's somewhere where you are sitting alone, and it's only you, your thoughts, and your study material. It will really help you be more comfortable with the sitting arrangement right there. Secondly, it should be neat, quiet, and free from distractions. As the third point also says screen time, and there's a point another that says keep electronics away, where I say free from distractions. For us as this new generation, I also say Gen Z that we all are, it is also very, very important for your tablets, for your phones, for any kind of screen to be away from you in your study environment. If you look at the picture on the screen as well, it's study arrangement. It's not very hi-fi, but the thing is, it has everything that person might need. There are no electronics, for example, on the screen picture that you can see. I know we are very used to things don't really go that way like it used to in the past, but simply keeping your phone away also really helps a lot, because it's really, there's a lot of distractions. We keep checking on our messages and all, and it is not very ideal to have your phone when you are actually getting into the study. Okay, apart from that, time yourself on screen time and questions. When you are talking about a study environment, why is it important to have probably like a clock or a timer with you? Is because firstly, you want to make sure that, you are studying for the right period of time. How many hours are you spending on what subject. Secondly, you should start timing your questions. So in a study environment, when we'll get more into detail about this further ahead, but when you are being timed on questions, you're being timed on what you do, you just tend to be more aware and responsive as compared to when you are just sitting idle or there is no time management, you are just free to do whatever. The results are not as good as when you are being timed. So you don't have to time every second, every minute, but make sure how much time you're spending on, studying, how much time are you spending on writing a question and answer, how much time are you spending on really retaining information is very, very important. You have to be very comfortable with the stationery that you use. So don't ever I know a lot of people are like, exam se jaane se pehle we go to stationery shops and we buy a set of new pens, new pencils, and all kind of new stationery. Yes, that is a very interesting part of the exam time when you get to spend a lot of money on stationery and other stuff like that. But make sure you check your pens, pencils, all your mathematical stationery and everything, and you are sort of used to it. You don't want to get into the exam hall and sort of have a pen or a pencil not working, a pencil with a broken lead and an irreplaceable sharpener with you. So you have to be very comfortable with your stationery. And I know it sounds very easy to do, but trust me that 1 or 2 minutes and extra time, that effort when you put into getting familiarized with the setting, familiarized with the stationery, and comfortability is there with the entire environment as a whole, your success rate just jumps another percent. A lot of times that anxiety and that negative emotions do arise because you are not familiar with the environment. The pen stops working, you are missing out on your time to answer the questions and all. So that, can really help. And then lastly, in your study environment itself, don't make it bland, don't make it boring. I am a strong voucher for colors. So, put up inspirational posters, put up motivational quotes on your study desk, like you can see in this picture, they've got pictures in front of them, so that every time, you have thoughts that are coming into, you have something motivating as well to sort of take those negativity away. So having inspirational posters and motivational quotes can really just help set up that environment much more better. So this is all about the studying environment. The second and the very amongst another important aspect is scheduling and goal setting. So I know for a lot of students, everybody is actually told to, be sure you make your plan. Itne baje se itne baje tak padhna hai, itne baje se itne baje khelna hai. But I also know that a lot of students actually fail at planning and scheduling in the right way. So I do want to give you a little idea on how can you actually schedule well and have goals into place. So first and foremost, just taking a very random example into place, it is very important for me, very easy for me to just say that, okay, I will do English today. The target is to complete 2 chapters of English today, and that is it. Okay, I might succeed at it. Absolutely, I might succeed at it. But it is very important, 2 chapters, for me to understand that 2 chapters will not take up an entire day. So when I set a goal or I make a plan, it is important to put a time also into place. So that is why if you see on the screen, I'm talking about something called SMART, which are SMART goals. So whenever you're doing this process of setting goals for yourself, you have to look into some places. Whatever goal that you are setting has to be specific. So, okay, what subject is that I'm going to be studying? I will be studying English. It has to be measurable. You should be able to track it. So I will be studying 2 chapters of English today. It should be attainable. We don't want it to be unrealistic. You should not say that, okay, today I'm going to finish the entire syllabus of English. That is not attainable. That is not realistic. So you need to set these goals that are more realistic and those are attainable. So utna hi set karo that you know you will be able to accomplish, and by the end of it you actually feel good and not stressed ki oh abhi to ye bhi rehta hai and ya fir I have not been able to do anything at all. So it should be attainable and realistic, and it should be time bound. So you saying that okay, like I said, 2 chapters in an entire day, it is not realistic. It is you're not being honest to yourself. That can actually be done in something like 3 to 4 hours. You're wasting an entire day. It is not. You have to be true to yourself more than anybody else. You have to understand it. You have to be true to yourself for you to be able to succeed in these examinations. So have a realistic time that is set as well. So it could be anything. Say I would take 4 hours. I would take 5 hours. Whatever you think. Another thing I would really like to mention when I use these SMART goals or I am saying anything to a large audience is don't go by what others are going to be putting in. So I will repeatedly be reiterating this point because I think for individual success, you have to understand this, that a goal that is set by you could not be same for somebody else. So if your friend is saying कि मैं इसको 4 घंटे में कर लूँगा, doesn't mean that you also have to spend 4 hours. You could spend 2 hours and attain a better result, or you could take 5 or 6 hours. This is your journey. So don't be bogged down by saying, when I say time bound, क्यों हो तो उतने में कर लेगा, because again, that would bring negativity and those negative emotions that we are actually trying to take away. So make this plan specific to you. Don't whenever you are doing goal setting or you're doing scheduling during the exam season, wherein it is about your preparations, just be very confident and think how much time it would take for you specifically. Don't think about how much time it would take for others. So yeah, just that. And apart from that, do not shy away from difficult subjects. What our regular tendency is, we want to do the most difficult thing at the end. Jabki that might take the most amount of time. So, if you're comfortable with, and I will talk about some ways that you can actually do difficult stuff first. When you're scheduling and you're planning, make sure that you tend to tackle what is the most difficult thing that you feel first, so that there is enough time for that. There is enough time in your preparation plan to handle those subjects. Then yes, as I said, they have to be SMART goals. But apart from that focused study time that I am saying, you also have to focus on your mind and body. So success is not just your mind, it is not just your intelligence, it is not just your body alone. It is accumulation of all of your mind, your body, your gut, everything that works together to help you attain success. So when I say focus on your mind and body, it is very, very, very important that you do have breaks into place. I don't want the students to be studying for 3 to 4 hours without breaks. First, it is not realistic. Like I said, it is not attainable. Secondly, time, you might be able to spend a lot of time, but it would not be focused time. So it is very, very important that your mind and your body are taken care of together. And we'll be discussing this more further ahead. But something that I also want to stress is on what you eat and drink. So stress eating, a lot of us will know that stress eating is something which is very common. We tend to binge on those chips ke packets and cokes and all of that stuff, all the junk food that is actually out there, and we try and just have as much as we have because it gives us a mental satisfaction. Now I really, really, really want to say, सिर्फ mental satisfaction होता है, उससे और कुछ नहीं होता. You will end up putting on weight. You will end up having more stress than actually that you want to take away. You will end up adding more stress into your life. So think even before an exam, and actually even a week before exam, you should actually stop having all kind of junk food that you can have, so that your mind and your body, your gut is functioning better to support memory retention. Retention has a lot of other components to it. So, if you're already feeling lethargic with all that junk food, you're already feeling tired because of overeating on that or binge eating, stress eating, your mind will not be able to retain information. So it's only going to be stressful. It's not really going to help. There are some things that are called brain foods. So nuts, berries, these are some brain foods that actually help in the process of, mind functioning, help with memory retention, better memory retention. Parents say akroot kha lo, almonds kha lo. So this is right. It is not just there. It is there for you to feel healthier and fit, especially during these times. So replace the junk food with brain food. And as much as you might like, yes, maybe you can have it as a reward. So you've put in these goals for yourself, and you say that, okay, 3 days I will finish my entire course, and then you can maybe put in a reward saying that once this goal is achieved, then I will reward myself. And how will I reward myself? I'm, instead of saying that I'm going to have that big 20 rupees Lay's ka packet ka chips, I will reward myself with a small chocolate. That is better. So this is how you have to go about things. This is how, it's the little things. You might say, okay, with a bigger packet of chips, since I've not had chips in a long time, it might be okay, but no, it's not true. Every time you're basically having that junk, you're giving a signal to your body that it's okay to go into that weak phase wherein it's not. So have foods that are healthy, have foods that help with retention, have foods that are good to your body, and keep at least this junk away during the exam time. Later on, it's a personal opinion, but yeah, at least during exam time, keep these things away. And yes, an important part for scheduling and goal setting is that you should, whatever plan that you create, how much time you give to each subject, how much time you give to your breaks, etc., you must have enough time for revision and yourself. And that is why I say yourself, because revision is a part of the preparation, and yourself is when you're giving time to your mind and your body. So you're going out for walks, even if you're doing some study, once it's done, you reward yourself by you going out for a walk, or you could sort of have like a conversation with a friend or something like that, is rewarding yourself, doing something for yourself. So have enough time that it's during the exam season. It shouldn't just be like ki pura time padna hai. If you can attain your goals systematically within a time period, I have seen clients, I've seen students actually having a lot more time for themselves. So if you can have a plan in place that systematically breaks down, don't wait for the last 5 days to start subjects. Have this scheduling and this goal planning way before, at least a month before, so that you know that, okay, these all things is something that you've known. Be consistent that way. And then exam time pe itna pressure hi nahi rahega ki lage ki, okay, now I don't have time for anything else. We tend to waste the entire time throughout the year, and then we get stressed during the exam time ki we don't have enough time to prepare, we don't have enough time to perform. So be sure you're consistent, schedule and plan in these ways that you have enough time for yourself and things that you actually love even before the exam. You don't have to stop anything. Okay. Moving forward, like I said, I do want to here mention some helpful study and productivity methods. So a lot of times, and I know as students also, a lot of children have this question that for us, study is just like we sitting and, jo bhi we have to study, we writing that down, having a time limit and all, ki kitne ko kitna dena and all. But a lot of us don't know what are some study methods or some productivity methods. So I wanted to come here and give these methods out. A lot of you might already know them, but I know there would be a lot of people who don't know about some techniques or the best practices to sort of prepare or just study in general. So the first one is the Pomodoro method. So if you actually see the tomato on the side, it comes with a clock. Like I said, time yourself. That is a very important aspect. So what the Pomodoro method basically does is you can choose. Either you set a time of 25 minutes or you set a time of 55 minutes. So let's just take an example for the 25-minute rule. So what you're doing in these 25 minutes is you will do focused study of 25 minutes, and then you will take a 5 minutes break. Similarly, if you're doing a 55 minutes Pomodoro method, you will do 55 minutes of targeted study, and then you will take a 5-minute break. So that gets to an hour. Okay, so we're trying to take either half an hour or full hour. So if you're doing the 25 minutes wala rule, you are doing 25 minutes of concrete study followed by 5 minutes of break. At the end of that 30 minutes, it becomes one Pomodoro. Okay, so when you're doing something and you're trying to target yourself, you can always put that after 3 or 4 Pomodoro, I will take a longer break. I know abhi ke liye that 5 minutes is very less, but trust me, that 5 minutes in that 25 minutes of focus study is very important and enough to just recharge and replenish your mind at that time. So do 25 minutes of focus study, take a 5-minute break, or do a 55 minutes of focus study. Same hai, 55 minutes mein I will try and finish a chapter. If not, even if you've not been able to finish it, don't stress yourself. Have that timer in place. That is why a timer is very important. You also get to understand yourself more कि मैं कितनी देर में कितना actually पढ़ सकता हूँ या पढ़ सकती हूँ. So after that 55 minutes, you take a 5-minute break, or after 25 minutes, you take a 5-minute break. But be sure, again, have your timer in place that after that 5 minutes, I will start on with my second Pomodoro. At the end of 3 or 4 Pomodoro, whatever, you can start off with having a longer break at the end of 3 Pomodoro. After a week, take it up to 4. After completing a set of 4 Pomodoro, that is when you start taking longer breaks. So that is completely up to you, but don't take like half an hour, 1 hour breaks just after one study session. Be realistic, have those goals again in place that, okay, the target is to complete the target is to complete 2 chapters in 4 hours. Now for that 4 hours, कैसे time plan करना है? मैं Pomodoro method दूंगा कि 1 hour, 55 minutes के लिए I will try and finish the first chapter, then I will take a 5 minutes break, so 1 hour is gone. Then next 55 minutes, I will do the other chapter, I will take a 5 minutes break. If there is something that is left, then in the next 1 hour, I will try and finish that in the next 55 minutes, then take a 5 minutes break. So you actually see by the end of 3 hours, you have realistically done 2 chapters. And then you are in a better position to take a longer break. So this method, there are a lot of methods, obviously, but this method primarily works best when you're trying to do something chapter-wise, or, you know, when you're trying to finish subjects in a better way. So this method can really help you out. The second method, which we commonly call eat the frog. So this is something you have to do when you wake up in the morning. It's not something you can just start right away. It is something that you have to think first and then get started with. So what you do is simply you will list, when you wake up in the morning, you list 5 to 7 activities. You just list it in any random order. You don't have to really think pehle. So you've listed that, okay, I have to do 2 sets of history questions, 5 sets of geography questions, 5-6 essays and stuff like that. And then I also have football practice and everything. So you literally list everything down that you have to get done for that day. And then you start ranking it. So for example, history is a weak subject for you, is something that you are not very confident in. Like I said, try and do what is more difficult first, so that you have enough time, enough mental energy for doing that. So that is the first thing that you actually finish in the morning. So you've ranked it from the hardest to something that is the easiest. The hardest in this order we can say is history, and the easiest thing is going to that soccer practice. So you will start with doing what is the most hard for you. You will go for doing that history subject. And then in order of difficulty, you start going down from the most hardest to what is easy. Now, what this will do by the end of it is, it will make you way more confident. It will make you way more comfortable. You, by the end of the day, you will actually see that jo sabse mushkil wala cheez tha, wo already done hai. So that again will take away the negative emotion. That will again take away all the stress and the anxiety that comes into place, and you will actually feel more fulfilled and more happy that, okay, the worst is already over, right? So this is a very productive method as well, and it actually helps a lot of students with getting things done in the right way. Thirdly, of course, note taking and writing. I know this is something that you already know, so I don't want to again impose that, but yes, for a lot of students who don't know, writing does help. I know it is said it is easier to take notes on your phone, it is easier to take notes and just sort of type it on the computer, but it is a scientific fact that your memory, your brain is more conscious. It retains more when you actually write. As long as you write, you keep writing, you keep practicing, you keep taking notes, you will be better facilitated to learn. It is way much better than just orally reading and then trying to cram it in your mind. The memory level is not as good as we think. So when you keep writing, it actually goes down to your subconscious mind and it is retained better. It is your long-term memory starts working for that. So I do, really vouch for students going out and writing and taking notes again and again. You could actually go up and end up writing 2 notebooks of the same question, but trust me, that is then something that will remain with you for a long period of time. So don't, shy away from writing and taking notes. And of course, asking questions and clarifying doubts. I really want to say, if, I had a lot of people here live, I would actually have just like an open space for people to come up and ask anything and everything, because, it is very important to clarify your doubts. even by the end of the session, maybe there is something that you might feel that, okay, this is not something I have understood. Because I mean, however it is, you would want to, get that sorted. So it is the same thing for your exams and whatever you are doing in school. Teachers are always there. You have to understand you, and you have to accept the fact that they are there for you. Okay, so don't shy away from opportunities. If there is something that you feel that you can't really ask in a group or in front of a class, always make an effort. Go out to the teacher, sort of ask them, ask her, if they can spare 5 minutes of their time and just help you out with the question. And trust me, you would never be said no to. You might be said that, okay, maybe not now, an hour later when there is a free space, but you would never be said ki no, बिल्कुल ही help नहीं मिलेगी. So don't be afraid of clarifying your doubts. Always keep asking questions, because that is one of the best ways for you to study. Okay. Then I quickly want to talk about some learning aids. Now, you could use the Pomodoro method, you could use Eat the Frog method. These are some methods that help you increase your productivity, help you study better. But then there are some learning aids that we should commonly use that can help you retain the information better. So the first one is mnemonics. So if you just see the example on screen, it just says, my very educated mother just served us 9 pizzas. Okay, now this is actually a mnemonic for the planets. So sometimes this is an example, you could use it for anything else. So it's very difficult for a lot of people to remember all the planets that exist, Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter. So what you're really doing is you're taking the first alphabet of every word. So for example, the word is Mercury. You're using the M from Mercury. The second one is Venus. You're using the V from Venus. The third one is Earth. You're using the E's. So all the red marks that you see on the right side of the screen, the names with the planets, are the initials, are the mnemonics that we are going to use. And with those mnemonics, we will make a phrase or a line or even like a chunk of words, whatever works best for you individually. You will use that and try to retain or, mimic that information in your mind. So I might not be able to retain all the names of the planets, but when I know that my very educated mother just served us 9 pizzas, which is an easier line for me to retain, I know that now every first alphabet of that line is actually the starting word of a planet. So, things just become easier. So the best way to go is you take whatever is difficult. A lot of times when you feel that this is a difficult chapter or this is a difficult date or a time or like a period or like a group of things to remember, what you do is you try forming mnemonics with something that is relatable, right? So pizzas are something that a good way. So now I know if nothing else, you would by this end of this session know that there was some mnemonic with the pizza in it. Okay, and then you would start thinking about mnemonics. So this is a great way. The second way is mind maps. When I say mind maps are basically a tool. So it is very creative. You simply have to sort of have the most relevant information in the middle, followed by relationships on the side. So if you see what is drawn on the screen, how to draw a mind map is where, how to draw a mind map likha hai, that is where you would be writing the word, what you have to sort of explain. So for example, let's just say I am trying to describe myself, or even in an answer, you want to just sort of remember pronouns or adjectives or something. So I will write the topic in the middle and then followed by the arrows and then try and explain the relationship. So you can put in, if you're trying to do pronouns, you can have all the pronouns in the form of maps. Isse kya hoga, when you write the paragraphs, it is not as easy to retain to the mind. But when you see something pictorially or you see something which is in the form of graphics, you tend to retain more. You tend to have that information for a longer period of time. So have mind maps in place. The third learning aid that I would like to mention is flashcards. So flashcards are nothing. They're simply pieces of paper that have very, very important informations on it. So flashcards are really good for subjects like history, wherein, there is one era or one topic or one point that has a lot of things associated with it. So on the front side of the paper, you could probably write about, like say, the Cold War. Okay, and then on the back side of the paper, you just write pointers to that point. So if you see on the screen, it says speech delivered by US President Abraham Lincoln, where it was on what day and how long it was, right? So these are just the important pointers. So every time a person wants to recall it, you don't have to go back to your notes. You don't have to start reading the entire chapter. You can simply look at the word in the front. What am I talking about? I'm talking about Abraham Lincoln. And when you turn the thing, you can just go through the points and see that, okay, these are the important things that I really have to retain and will get me at least the most amount of marks. Okay, try and focus on what you can and what you can retain rather than thinking that, oh, it's such a long answer. It also works well for subjects and answers that are very long. You think that you cannot remember every point, every detail of it. So flashcards there work best. You can just sort of write the pointers that you think are important and have those important dates and just mention them on a flashcard. And then you can always keep coming back to it and have better retention. And then highlighting, of course, highlighting is something which is very commonly used, and it is there for a reason because, again, it is scientifically proven that when you see a lot more colors, you tend to gain cues out of it and you tend to retain it more. So whenever you're reading a chapter, whenever you're making your own notes, you can either highlight whatever is important or even have color highlighting in place. So like in this picture, all general highlights in the color yellow are important. All the authors या जहाँ जहाँ उनके work cited हैं will be highlighted in yellow. So you can have your own color scheme in place and then highlight accordingly so that when you're reading again, you don't have to think why this was important. You know, there is a color scheme that is working for you and that is what you're going to do out of it. Okay, so these are some learning aids also that you can use. Now, this is something, whatever we've talked to about has primarily been about the preparation side. So things that can help you prepare more efficiently and help you with memory retention. Like I said, it is divided into three aspects: the preparation and the before exam part, then something that you can do during or just before the exam. So this is what we will be talking about now. So you're all done with your preparations. It's almost time for exams. What can you do at the night before the exam? So the first and the most important thing is adequate sleep. It is very, I know it is a stressful time. So a lot of people would actually, have that sleeping anxiety, might have a lot of stress going out in their mind and might not think that sleep is as important as it is. But yes, it is very important. It is very important for you to, as students, to understand that if you do not sleep well, jitna bhi aapne padha hai will not be retained. The next day, no matter how hard you try, you will end up losing a lot of time. You will not be able to retain all the information and it would not really work. So get a lot of good sleep. Another thing you can do is positive imagery. So when you've gone to the bed, you're in your blanket, you're all tucked in and the lights have gone out, just close your eyes and you should start visualizing a positive exam experience. You don't really have to be like, oh, I'm going to get 100 on 100. Be very realistic, but just say that, okay, I have prepared as well as I could. I have done everything that was even possible. Now I know I will have a good examination and everything will go really well. Try to sleep with that thought. Don't try to sleep with thoughts like, oh, this is also pending, oh, tomorrow is an exam, I don't know what questions are going to be there. The more positive you actually start setting your intentions and your mind to, the better and the more positive experience is going to be as a result of it. So make sure you try the positive imagery method. Then again, boost yourself by reminding yourself of all the preparation and hard work you've done. Like I said, the first part is the preparation part. You cannot be boosting yourself if you've not prepared well. So make sure you've prepared well, and then you, before the day of the exam, the night before the exam, you're boosting yourself and you're trying to think of all the good things that are there. Another important aspect is don't compare your preparation with others. Focus on you. So a lot of times what happens is you go on with your phone and sort of, go on discussing with your friends and all the peers that, okay, I've done this, and this is left, or this is, I don't know, I will leave this and go. A lot of people do that as well. So I would really not tell you to do that. I really think it does no good and will only add up to all these negative emotions that we are trying to stay away from. So now it is important for you to just remember that whatever is done is done. जितना भी आप prepare कर सकते थे आप कर चुके हो. अगर आप सोगे नहीं तो again, like I said, the information will not be retained. So it is very important that you don't sleep with these thoughts in mind that, okay, I have probably not prepared as well as he or she has. Don't focus on them. Focus on what you have done and how you will be performing in the next opportunity. Then the next part is And it is very important. When we say exams, like I mentioned in the beginning, we treat it as a threat. But what I would like to put across to you is it is not a threat, it is actually an opportunity. If you think of it as a threat, then yes, obviously the negative emotions will come into place, like we discussed. But if you view it as an opportunity, as a challenge to sort of, prove yourself out there, and then it's a stepping stone to your success, you will be more comfortable with the terms of examinations and the tests that are involved. So it is very important for you to understand that a test is not a final determinant. Okay, so don't take it as a threat. Even if something goes wrong in the first time, it is again an opportunity for you, and the opportunities will keep coming as long as you are preparing well for it and you are working hard enough for it. And then, like I said, don't eat junk food at all before the night of your exam, at least, because that will directly impact your gut. And there are also possibilities that you might wake up with a stomach infection and not be able to attend the exam at all. So be sure you're doing that. And if you actually even want to study before going to bed, don't think of long chapters that you want to do. When you're taking notes, you're using whatever study method is working best for you. Always make a set of important notes that you will refer to in the end. So before you sleep, if you just want, you're having that stress, or you want to be comfortable with the next day's exam, just make sure you're only reading the important stuff. You are not trying to cram something new, because something new will not be retained that well. So it is important that you have those notes in place, and that is what you are focusing on. Okay, so now we've actually covered the preparation part, and we've reached till what are the things that you can do for till the night before the exam. So something that I really want to give as a giveaway as well is this technique. It's called a box breathing technique. I'm not sure how many would know about it, but it's called box breathing because if you actually look at the picture as well, there's a box. And that is how you actually breathe. So if you look at the screen, you have to breathe in for 4 seconds, then you hold for 4 seconds, and then you breathe out for 4 seconds, and then you again hold for 4 seconds. So quickly, I'll try to demonstrate it because I know probably a lot of people are watching, and I can just give you a click. So you breathe in for 4 seconds, and you hold it. And then you hold for. So actually, these are 16 seconds of doing something. You're breathing in for 4 seconds. You're holding that breath for 4 seconds. You just do 1, 2, 3, 4. And then you breathe out for 4 seconds. And then you just pause. Just hold right there for 4 seconds. So in the end of these 16 seconds, a lot of people might not realize, but you have actually come back to the reality. I love saying this, that the stress and these negative emotions, when you actually look at it, don't even exist. They're actually just, they've become a part of our mind, and that fear and all those negativity that are there. But when you ground yourself, when you sort of come back to the reality, you know that you're prepared and there's nothing that you really have to be afraid of, right? So in times of stress, in times of when you're feeling these negative emotions, I really would recommend that you try this boxing breathing technique. It can help calm your mind just within a few seconds, and do it a couple of times. Do it at least 3 to 4 times, up to a minute, and it will really help you come back and connect you with what is actually going on. You can also use this not just before exams, but in your general life as well. You feel there is a situation wherein there is a lot of anxiety, there's a lot of stress that is going around, or just in general you're not feeling very good, you're not feeling up to it. So try and use this technique to come back into what the reality is like, and try to then refocus. जब इतना कुछ already messy हो जाता है, coming back and concentrating is not very easy. So try and use this technique and then start again. Before in context of the exam season, what you can do is, before you actually enter the exam hall, or you actually even look at the question paper, you do this technique twice, do it for a minute, and then you end it by saying like, I know everything on this test, or I've got it. So you use a positive word, and then you start and enter the exam hall, or you even look at the question paper. So when you start with the positive note, when you start maybe using this technique, all the stress, all the negativity will automatically go away, and you will be better, you will be in a better position to actually attempt the questions as well. But make sure when you finish the breathing technique, you follow it up with a positive statement and not a negative one. Otherwise, it will only be more messy. So by the end of the breathing session, what you do is you just tell yourself that, okay, I've got this. I know everything that is going to be there on the exam, and I know I will perform it. So that's about it. Just that 1 second and that 1 minute of giving something to yourself can do wonders for you. Quickly, some stuff that you can do during the exam. So now you know everything about the preparation the night before the exam, and even stuff that you can do before you enter the examination hall. When you look at a question, or you look at the question paper, or even before looking at a question paper, have an open mindset. If you're going to keep thinking, oh my god, मुझे नहीं पता question में क्या आएगा, मुझे नहीं समझ, पता नहीं वो chapter से ना आ जाए जिसके लिए मैंने इतना अच्छा prepare नहीं किया था, the chances are कि you will, even if you know something, you will forget it. Okay, so when you look at a question paper, look at it with an open and positive mindset. Be very sure that you read the questions carefully and you don't jump onto conclusions, or you don't jump onto what the question is asking. And simple example is, a lot of times the question says comment, and a lot of times the question would say write an essay on. So write an essay on would probably be more elaborative. Okay, when it says comment, it's probably asking you ki, what is your perspective on this. So I might say comment on how you might feel this workshop is. So you give me your opinion about it, right? So just sort of decipher there what the question is actually answering, not what you think. Okay, so read the questions properly. Don't jump onto answering, right away. A lot of times when you look at the question, I know students, they tend to feel blank. And a lot of times they just say that, okay, I don't really remember even what it was or not. So at that point of time, it is very important that you take a pause. You don't rush into it. Okay, so just take a pause and try reconnecting with the study material. So like I had mentioned, notes taking and mind maps and using the learning aids. Why that is also important and why I mentioned it is, when you have that blank moment कि अब मुझे याद नहीं है कि अब exam में इसमें क्या था, there are the times कि वो इसमें क्या था, what did I have to write, you can reconnect with your study material at that time. If for example you would have drawn a mind map, you can just close your eyes and try to envision उस mind map पे क्या क्या points थे. That will really help you write down your answer better. If you didn't do a mind map, you probably did a set of flashcards. So you can quickly close your eyes and sort of reconnect with those flashcards. कि उसपे यार क्या क्या था. Maybe you had 4 points, you might not remember 4 points, but those 2 points that you might be able to recall are way much better than having a blank answer. So when you go blank, don't let negativity take control over you. Take control over yourself and just pause. Give yourself, do the box breathing, give yourself a minute, and then try to reconnect with the information. Another important and useful tip that I would like to give is, when you look at questions, okay, don't simply go on to start writing the answers. A lot of times क्या होता है, whatever comes to your mind, you keep writing it. बीच में आता है कि, oh, this might also be a good point, but you tend to forget it. And by the end of it, then you start worrying that, oh, there was this point that I've not written or I don't remember. So a good way for that is, as soon as you see the question, you brainstorm everything that you can think of and you just write small pointers on the side of the question. So for example, I ask, my question is, what is one of the technique that I just did to give, help you calm your stress and help you be grounded, right? So you can probably think, acha, ek activity pehle karai thi ya wo, but now that it's new to you, as soon as you see the question, you can just write pointers. Okay, there was something called box breathing. There was a tapping thing that we did in the initial part of the session. You can just write that down. And then you go on to elaborate it baad mein when you're actually writing the answers. What this will do is, even if you don't have time in the end, right? Even if you write those pointers and given your sheet, it would be much better than the blank aspect of it, right? And a lot of times when you are in that flow of writing, you tend to forget something which was important. So then you can always reconnect with those pointers that you had written on the side. Ki, theek hai, maine ye bhi likh diya, maine ye bhi likh diya. Now my answer is complete. So it works for both the ways, even when there is nothing to write, not much to write, and even when you feel there is a lot to write and you might mess it up or get confused in between. So the pointers will really help you complete your answer altogether. Don't waste time thinking. If you see a question, a lot of times you will just keep on trying to remember. You will try to, you might get all these negative emotions again that, oh, I don't know it. Focus on what you do know. That is another important aspect and a good time management skill as well. That focus more on what you do know. Come back to the things you don't know in the end. You can take care of all of that later. You will have enough time. But if you prioritize in the right way and focus on doing the right thing first, knowing writing what you do know, you will have a higher success rate. And always keep a water bottle handy. A lot of times we feel that you don't need water. You might just feel that okay, pyas nahi lagegi, but just sipping water in between will really help you get through that exam in a better way, and will keep your body refreshed, replenished. And yeah, of course, in the last before you submit an exam, be sure that you've prepared. Whatever you are submitting, you should always cross check it, correct the mistakes before, so that will all fall in place. If you've followed everything that I've actually discussed till now, you will have enough time in the end as well to just go through your answers and make sure that whatever you're submitting is in the best possible manner. Okay. Something that I would lay a lot of stress and importance to, stress as an importance to, your mindset. So like I said, a lot of people have these emotions and these negativities that come to their mind and their body, in fact. But what we don't pay so much attention to is our mindset. So there is a set of things that you can do for yourself. So that is self-care and mindset that works together. So what you do is, during an exam time, you go out comparing your preparation, you go out comparing your decisions, your results and everything. What is very important for you to focus on is you. जो भी आप study method choose करोगे, चाहे वो Pomodoro होगा, चाहे वो eating the frog होगा, या something that I have not said and probably your teachers have given out as a method, whatever method you're using should be what works best for you and not what works best for your friend. Please make an important note of that, because the success rate would then go down for you and might still be high for your friend. So choose what works the best for you. Don't pull all-nighters. Thinking you can study till 3-4 in the morning and then go for an exam at 7 in the morning does not work ideally. You might have done that. You might have been able to somehow get away with it, but in the long term, it does not work. By the end of it, when you're trying to retain information that is supposed to be important, you will not be able to do it. Don't pull out all-nighters. Focus on your schedule. Like I said, nutrition, sleeping patterns, taking breaks, going out, doing that physical activities is very important. Avoid the comparison and the negative vibes. So like I said, don't get into the preparation, the talks of aapne kitna prepare kar liya, ye ho gaya ya nahi hua. Focus on you. Okay, give those treats. So like I said, at the end of 4 Pomodoro, you can treat yourself. So have like a chocolate in place, or have like, okay, now I might go out for a swim or a sport that I enjoy. Treat yourself in good ways. Don't treat yourself with 3 Domino's pizzas and then end up sleeping. Okay, so treat yourself in the right way. And don't let uncertainty bother you. Focus on healthy preparation. Don't think, oh, I don't know if this will even come in the question. Should I waste my time on it? No. Have enough time for everything. That is why use the right study method for yourself. Have enough time in place so that you are prepared to embrace whatever comes your way. Then it's all about the rest of it. It's not about your preparation, right? So make sure your preparation is there so that uncertainty doesn't bog you down. When I say mindset, another thing is self-talk. How you talk to yourself really is a big determinant of your success. So if today before the workshop, I would have said that, okay, I don't know, I would have started doubting myself and being like that, I don't know, Sanya, can you really take that workshop? Are you even good enough? And stuff like that. Do you think I would even be able to speak for probably the 30-40 minutes that I've spoken already? No, I wouldn't have. The only reason that I can say right now in front of the audience that I have, and I can speak right now, is because I have that confidence in myself. I've done the box breathing actually before I entered, and I've told myself that I am going to say is something that I'm an expert in, and I know that it's going to go great. So success is partially a mindset. Okay, if you've prepared, if you talk to yourself, you prepare yourself well, the success is already achieved. Reframe your thinking. Now, this is something I really like to mention. When you say, I am not good at tests, okay, you're doing a negative self-talk. You are allowing your mind, your body, and all this energy that is out there in the universe to say and to actually give you results accordingly. Okay, so these negative statements can actually be more damaging than anything else itself. So instead of saying, I am not good at tests, tell yourself, tests are challenging for me. So I will, prepare better, plan in advance, but I will rock it. Okay. So these just reframing of thoughts, these just changing of negativity into positivity can really help you and help you achieve this success during the exam season. So don't bog yourself down with negative self-talk. Okay. Another mindset technique that you can use is the best case scenario thing. So usually what happens is why this negativity or these negative emotions come, because you've actually imagined the worst case scenario. Abhi exam aaya nahi hai aur aapne soch liya hai ki मेरे को तो ये subject नहीं पसंद, शायद I don't know how the result is going to be like, right? So don't imagine that. Don't think of the worst case scenario. Put this in your mind, start thinking, start visualizing, start doing everything that you can to imagine the best case scenario. It's not about what if I fall, but it's like, there's this quote also, but oh, what if you succeed? There is more at the end of it if you succeed, right? So why do you want to bog yourself down by saying that, oh, I might not succeed? Think of things that can actually help you at this time in succeeding, and try focusing on what you will gain by the end of this, so that you can put in the energy and you can put in the resources and the effort that is actually required to attain success. Okay, be proactive. Like I said, think of what ways you can achieve success. How can you, if there is if there is like a hindrance in between, how can you overcome that? What is the best way out? Take help when you need to. Okay, talk and ask for help when you need to. Another reason why a lot of students aren't so good at examination is because, one, they are not prepared. Two, they've not asked enough questions to clear their doubts. So when you need help, or you need anything that is emotionally, mentally, physically exhausting, don't be afraid to ask for help. One or two people might not be able to understand, the third or fourth person will. It's about you. You have to make sure that your doubts are taken care of, your needs are met with. So go out, ask questions, make sure whatever help you need, you are asking for it. Because till you don't ask for help, a lot of people might not be able to just understand that you even need it. Okay, so don't assume कि कोई मुझे समझ नहीं रहा. Go out, be the first person and ask for help. कोई छोटा बड़ा नहीं होगा इससे. Your needs might actually be better met when you go out and ask for help. Okay. So these were a little considerations that I did have. Quickly just going through before we wrap up this session, because I know we're also due on the time a little takeaways that I would like to give before we end. Success is where preparations and opportunity meet together. So this is something which is very important for you to understand. What is success? Now, success is very individualistic, but when it comes to exams, it's a place where actually the opportunity, like I said, exam is not a threat, treat it as an opportunity. Okay, and then the other part that you can take care of is the preparation part of it. So where these opportunities and this preparation will meet is your success area. Okay, this is where you will get success. So don't be bogged down by anything. Focus on your preparation. Don't compare your journey and result with others. It is very important to understand that the way you might learn is so different than the way I might learn. For me to learn an answer, I have to write one question at least 2 times for me to be able to cram, for me to be able to retain, for me to understand what I've done. For you, probably it might be done in one writing practice. You might have a better retention than I have. Similarly, if somebody is faster than you, has better time management than you, has been able to do stuff differently than you, does not mean they are going to be successful and you will not be. It is not a determinant. So don't compare your journey and your result with others. If something has not worked out for you this time, you have to focus on it working out for you the next time. You have to focus on that and how you can achieve that. Remind yourself of all the good and everything you have been able to overcome until this point. So a lot of, if you're a class 12 student, you would probably even relate to this a lot more. 12th boards aate and we all of a sudden have this feeling that I don't know if I'll be able to perform that well. I don't know if I'll pass even, or this and that. But the fact that you are in grade 12 means you have been able to achieve all the grades prior to this. Whatever was required, whatever was important at that point of time was taken care by you, right? So think of all those times, all those difficult times, all those challenges that you were able to overcome. Don't think of the things that lie ahead. Okay, think of those things that you have already done, you have been successful of, and you use that as a motivation to help you go ahead. Okay, so that will really really help you and remind you that, okay, whatever the challenge is, it's okay, I will get through it. Treat test like a project. That is something that you all should really understand, that it is not a final determinant of who you are or what you are going to be. You might not score so well in one test, but you might score some better marks the next time. You might not be good in one subject, but you surely have your own positives. So try working on them more. Whatever you're not good at, give it a little more time, give it more energy, give it more effort, so that it's taken care of before, rather than you spending a lot of time and happiness on, okay, everything that is easy and everything, and you completely forget what is left, or what is something that you have to work on. Okay, but again, whatever the test is, or wherever the test result, whatever the test result looks like, you have to treat it like a project. It is just a stepping stone. Aaj mujhe, if I have to do something in the evening, there is something I have to do before that. So that is a project for me. Don't treat it as an end result. Okay. When you come to organizing your material, when it comes to preparation, use different study methods. If you found the Pomodoro method can work for you, definitely give it a shot, because it has a scientific, rationale behind it. It is well proven that it really works well for retention of information. It works well for time management and productivity. So give different learning methods a shot and see what works better for you. Then try to keep continuing with it and trying to challenge yourself even more with that. When it comes to the post analysis of a test, of an exam, don't think that, oh, I've scored sort of like a 90% or I've scored a 40% and baat yahi khatam. No. Even if you fail or you succeed, a post analysis is always very important, irrespective of how you score, because then that becomes like a guide for next time. So for example, you've not scored, you've done a mistake in algebra, and once the exams come back to you that, okay, this is where you were wrong. Try and write that down. Try and reframe that process again. Try and do more practice of those questions again, so that the next time when you're trying to attempt it, you'll be way more comfortable. Every time that something goes wrong, or even right for that matter, do a post analysis, so that you know what your strengths are, what your weaknesses are, how much time should you have to spend on it on the next time. Then, like I said, turn negatives into positives. Really, what will help you get successful in this exam season is trying to get that positive mindset into place. Some points that we discussed prior to this. Turn that I can't remember into, no, I do know this, and I will. A lot of times, like I said, when you go blank into those spaces and you're like, oh, I don't remember what it was, try to close your eyes, try to tell yourself ki no, maine wo likha tha, I do remember ki wo kya hai, and just try to reconnect with the material and visualize where it was on the mind map or where it was in the book, wherever you had done. Don't doubt yourself when you think these negative emotions are arising, or there is any sort of negativity that is coming by you. Do the box breathing technique. And now I'll simply also tell you the tapping thing that we did. It is actually an emotional freedom technique. So it helps you relieve the stress and emotions. It is a proper method. So a lot of people are not actually qualified to even do that all the time. But simply tapping different parts of your body helps you reconnect with your senses. So before an exam, or before, when you get into a stressful situation, काफी लोग देखते हो ना एकदम से पानी के छिट्टे मारते हैं. Why do you do that? You want to reconnect with the present situation. You want to reconnect with what is happening. When you wake up, that's probably the first thing your mother says कि नहीं एकदम से नहीं करना, पहले wake up properly. So you do splash your face, you splash everything. A lot of times people put ice to feel better and all. So tapping is simply engaging your senses. So that is what we did. Before we went on with the session, we actually engaged our senses, because I wanted all of us to be on the same vibrations, have the same frequency, and then get into the session. So that is what we actually did. So you can try doing that. You don't have to be an expert. You can just simply touch different parts of your body and sort of just reconnect. You can rub your hands and put the palms on your face. These are just techniques, I know, which are easy to say, but very difficult to incorporate into your daily lives. So make sure you do try them out yourself by the end of this session. And, you do try and put that into your daily life, so that, when you do actually have to do something, it is available for you. It is not something that you're completely ignorant of, and try using it. I am sure it will benefit you. If it's benefited, my clients and myself as well, it just takes you a 2 minutes ka practice time for you to just incorporate it into your daily lives. And I'm sure you're going to come back to me and tell me that no, ma'am, it did work out for us. Remember, lastly, that no one else but you can be the rider of your own success. Whatever your friend is doing will work best for him. But for your, your good results, for you to achieve the marks that you want, or any success for that matter, not just in exams, the power lies within you and not outside of you. Sometimes, yes, situations may happen, things might happen, but ultimately what is important is that you're doing everything possible that is possible by you. You are putting all the preparation, you're doing all the hard work. You are not dependent on others for your success. So you need to understand that the success is inside, the power is inside, and whatever you can do is the best thing, and nobody else can do it for you. Okay, it's all these emotions that you have, all this negativity that you might feel in the exam season and in general as well. It is very, very human. It is okay to feel these emotions, is what I really want to tell you. But what is also important is that you channel these energies and achieve the desired result. Just because you are feeling bogged down doesn't just mean that you can miss an exam, right? You will still have to write it. Doesn't mean it's going to do anything good for you. So you might as well use these techniques, have a good mindset, try and use these positive methods to have the right mindset, so that when you're required to perform, when you're required to actually write a test, you can do it well. Don't let that negativity bog you down. You have to channelize those energies. And again, just the last thing that I would like to really say and wrap up the session with, if you prepare well, if you stay organized, you know your study material, you can connect with your learning aids, you know what works best for you. If you have a positive mindset, you give it your best. Like I said, it's a combination of doing things for yourself and having the right mindset, and you are able to give it your best. If you do these 4 things together, success is already yours. Primarily, success is a mindset, but yes, it goes on with the preparation and the hard work that you put in to preparing, to achieving the results that you want. Success will not happen overnight. It wouldn't happen if you don't actually put in that effort. So it is very important that you prepare well. When you're preparing, you think of the study methods, you think of what learning aids work for you. You have to stay organized. So you are in that study environment, you have your study material with you, you've clarified your doubts, you've asked your questions, you have a positive mindset, you reframe the negatives into the positives, you do the box breathing, you do other stress calming techniques for you, you do the self-talk, you do positive self-talk with yourself, and then you just go and give your best. Don't worry about the rest, because success then is already yours. And then numbers and all don't matter so much. Yes, you will have to do a post analysis on whatever happens, but it can be a guide. Primarily these 4 things, and then success is already your way. Okay, that is where I would like to wrap up my session. And thank you for the opportunity. If there are any questions or anything else for me, I would love to take care of that as well.
Are there any questions? Would anyone like to ask any questions? Though we are a bit over time, but if there are any, we can have a couple of questions if there are any. Since okay, so yes.
Ma'am, what are the ways by which we can learn or memorize the things very easily and efficient way?
Sorry, what are the ways?
By which we can memorize the things in very easy and efficient way.
Okay, so when you have to memorize, if like I said, the learning aids, form mind maps, agar kuch hai important hai, usko sabse beech mein rakh ke, you make relationships out of it. When you see something graphically or in a picture form, you retain better. ठीक है, अब मैं आपसे एक सिंपल क्वेश्चन पूछती हूँ, बॉक्स ब्रीदिंग में कौन सा इमेज था?
Ma'am, that we have to hold for 4 seconds of
right.
breath.
अब वो आपको याद पता है क्यों रहा? You were able to recall that because it was in a form of a picture. If I would have written a complete essay on it, you would not have been able to understand it that well. So these mnemonics, forming small little words, using flashcards, जहाँ पे आपने सबसे आगे जो मेन चीज है वो लिख दी, और उसकी बैक साइड पे जैसे यहाँ पे अब्राहम लिंकन ने कहाँ के हैं, उन्होंने कब स्पीच दी, उनकी कितनी मिनट्स की स्पीच थी, ऐसे पॉइंटर्स लिख के किया. That will again help you retain and recall the information better. as well as highlighting. Colors work wonders. If you don't, when you colors, use the highlighter in your books, notebooks, in your notes, you color coordinate, you will tend to retain that. So even if you go blank during an examination, like I said, close your eyes, try to remember जो आपका study material था. आपको अगर फ्लैश कार्ड में आपने अब्राहम लिंकन के बारे में लिखा होगा, you will close your eyes. Out of the 4 points, I am sure you will be able to retain at least 2. So write a lot and use these learning aids. Okay.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Any?
All right. So,
Okay, perfect.
since we don't have any questions further, so I think this is the time to wind up the session. I hope, Somansh, your doubt is cleared. And also, I think, Sneha, you would, Sania, you will agree with me that we have certain apps for mind map tools, which are available for different, So I think all the students can make good use of them. So with that, thank you, Sania, so much for this engaging, enlightening, and very, very productive session. All the tips and strategies that you have shared are very, very practical. And I, in particular, like that box breathing technique. I think I would definitely use that. The best part was that these tips are not just for students, but I think are relevant for adults as well, because we also at times, get stressed about certain whatever things come up. So I think all these tips would help each one of us.
And they're not
So
time
thank you.
consuming, so they won't take a lot of time, but can really help relieve those negative emotions.
Absolutely, absolutely. So I appreciate taking your time and effort to present your
Thank you
thoughts and
so
experience with us, and
Thank
we
you
look
so
forward to having you
Thank you.
once again, maybe for some other topic. So thank you on behalf of the TCM family. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Take care.
God bless.